Central London, 10 days to go before the start of Ramadan, the holy month of prayer and fasting.
We want to go to war. A lot of these Muslims who are here, their family have been in there. The families have been killed. So I genuinely do understand their anger and their frustration. But I just see, unfortunately, two wrongs don't make a right. So I think really, to be honest, I think the government's got a lot to do with it, to be honest. I think the government has created a lot of the fitna, a lot of the problems that are going on between the Muslims and also with the non-Muslims as well.
Prophet Muhammad showed us in the beginning of his call, he used to be forced to turn the other cheek because he didn't have an Islamic state, he didn't have the ability, and to try to repel the onslaught that he was receiving from his enemies, it would have only brought on bigger problems. It would have exacerbated the problem that he, along with his companions, were dealing with. So at that time, he was one who used wisdom, and he did not try to fight fire with fire. Instead, he was patient and he was continuous in his call to al-Islam.
From its early days, Islam has been caught up in politics. Many in the West see the present situation in terms of a crusade, a power struggle between the Muslim and Christian worlds. Some Muslims see things in similar terms. There's a jihad or a holy war being waged against the evils of the Western world, greed and decadence. British Muslims understand the point being made, even if they don't agree with the language of war.
The problem is that there isn't any redress of the balance of the haves and the have-nots, and the craving for the more when somebody doesn't need more. These are the things which are worrying. You know, Islam permits people to do generally whatever they want to do. It only limits those things which are either in excess or those things which will lead to immorality or lead to somebody usurping the rights of someone else. The world that we have, there's no problem in somebody. They can live a happy, rich, good lifestyle in England or in any country and still follow the tenets of Islam without them feeling that Islam is infringing upon them. It only infringes upon you when you, as a person, want to go into excess into what you're doing. So Islam just comes to limit that.
Non-Muslims are well aware of the political debate.
Among the losers in this life and in the hereafter.
We come here every week. We come here to tell the people what is Islam, what is not from Islam. We also try as much as possible to clarify the misconceptions. The response is a mixture. Some people, they're actually quite sympathetic with regards to the abuse we're suffering.
You get different people from all kind of ideologies. You get some people that act like they deal with you okay and they speak rationally. You have people who are just emotional freaks. You just exchange. We try to keep it calm and just exchange. If they agree, they agree. If they don't agree, they don't agree. But most of the time, the results are very good.
As Muslims, one, it's our responsibility and obligation to tell people what Islam is. We're here really to clarify misconceptions and to tell the people what is Islam and what is not from Islam. So we have to keep calm and show a good example. When there's occurrences, we check with the scholars before coming down here. We check with the scholars, find out what our position is with knowledge, so that when we come down, we're basically conveying what the scholars have been saying with regards to recent events.
Basically, convey the message of Islam, to worship none other than God, not to worship statues, not to worship animals, not to worship created things like that we believe other religions call to. And it's basically to clarify, especially in these times, Islam's view on
do operate within this, and many other communities have given themselves that name, the Muslim Boys. And my judgment is that's just to instill even more fear in and around the activities that they become involved in.
The police in the borough hold regular meetings with Muslim leaders from Brixton and other mosques in the area.
Hiya. Yeah, hi. How are you?
Oh, hello. Right.
Go on. How are you doing?
Hello.
How's it going? Yeah, good. Thanks for coming.
When an innocent man was shot by armed police at Stockwell, just a mile from Brixton Mosque, many Muslims became very alarmed. Did the police have a shoot-to-kill policy? Could anyone just looking suspicious be targeted?
We want to know, has the Commission taken any steps to ensure that this doesn't happen again? Because
what are the procedures?
Operation Kratos remains in place to deal with that unique circumstances of dealing with the suicide.
Direct links with these individuals, the answer is no. We have direct links with the youth, of course, and most of the youth, they run away from these types of individuals. Lots of them have come from, they've either come from outside of the Brixton area, some from Streatham, Battersea, whenever, outside out, generally the catchment area coming to this particular mosque, or they've perhaps they were recruited or whatever in prison, so the media has mentioned before.
Luton's Call to Islam Centre runs several courses to help young Muslims find work and further their education.
Some of them under 25, they sign on onto the Bury Park Youth Project. Some of them over 25s, they sign on the Prisoner Rehabilitation Project, or they go on courses that we set up for them, and they get job skills help from our staff and from the Ethnic Minority Training Project. So we're able to try and get them off the streets into work or into education